Yeah, yeah, I guess I should have expected to make this video once the movie came out. Given the fact that the most controversial video I've ever done was about this exact same topic about a year and a half ago. Hello, my name is Daniel Mart. I'm an actor and filmmaker based out of South Florida, and today I want to discuss the Rachel Zegler situation all over again. So yeah, in defense of Rachel Zegler, part 2. So yeah, about a year and a half ago when I basically restarted my YouTube channel, I did a video on Rachel Zegler and defense of her. It is probably by far my most controversial video, period, by a long shot, and given the figure of it, who it involves, Rachel Zegler, yeah, controversy up the ass. About a year and a half ago, because that video came out on August 31st, 2023, I basically said that I am going to defend Rachel Zegler because I think that the vitriolic hate that she's garnered because of X, Y, and Z and whatever comments she made about the original Snow White movie is honestly blown out of proportion and somewhat hypocritical. Cut to a year and a half later, Snow White is finally out. It came out last week, and Jesus Christ, where do I begin? That's really what it essentially comes down to. So, just to kind of give you guys a quick run through, as I said before, she made comments about the original Snow White movie, but since then, I would say she's more or less kept her mouth shut, for better or worse. All last year, there really wasn't anything that she did controversial that I really saw, or at least nothing that stood out to me. She was also in Y2K, that came out actually towards the end of last year. I thought it was actually a really fun slasher movie taking place on Y2K, December 31st, 1999, January 1st, 2000. So that was honestly a fun movie. If you like fun slashers, go watch Y2K. Definitely go check it out. One of my favorite movies of last year. And, she was also in not Songbirds of Snakes, or maybe is that what it's called? The Hunger Games Battle Songs, Souls and Snakes. Songbirds and Snakes. I thought she did a good job in that movie. I actually really liked it. The third half, story-wise, it's a little bit messy, but overall I thought it was a really good movie. I forget when that came out, if that came out before or after the initial controversy with Rachel Zegler back in 2023. But yeah, that came out and I thought it was really good. It was generally successful, and I'm saying that it was more or less very successful. Same thing with Y2K. I'm pretty sure it was very successful either from a critic standpoint or a financial box office standpoint. So I'm pointing those two out because of what is going on right now. Right now, where are we? We are currently on March 28th, 2025. Snow White, the remake, live action remake, came out last week. Granted, it's only been one weekend, but currently it is floundering. The Snow White movie, live action, is floundering. And quite predictably, and why I should have expected to make a part 2 for this, they're blaming Rachel Zegler. Some of the stuff that isn't helping her case, is because she made a video around sometime last week, or maybe even a little bit before that, where she was talking about her experiences on Snow White and how she's thankful that people are enjoying the movie and watching the movie. And at the end of the video, or in the comment section of the video, she also said, by the way, free Palestine. And that got everybody in the internet, online space, right-wing section of YouTube and Twitter or X or whatever, really, really riled up. Go figure. Now, I've stated, especially in some recent videos that I've done, I've stated that I really have no idea what's going on with Israel and Palestine and that whole situation. I actually, earlier this week, probably like 2 or 3 days ago, I posted a video about the whole No Other Land, O Cinema situation. If you're here from Miami, if you're based out of Miami, you guys know what I'm talking about. The O Cinema, for the past 3 weeks, they've been getting eviction threats from the mayor of Miami Beach to be basically evicted or thrown out or whatever because they are showing No Other Land, the Oscar-winning documentary about Palestine and Israel. Again, I've already expressed, I really don't know what's going on. For me, at a most base level, I just want the wars to end. Whether it be Palestine and Israel, Russia or Ukraine, whatever the hell is going on in Africa. Because, by the way, there's like 20 different wars going on in Africa on any given Sunday. By the way, I just want the wars to end. Again, I don't know the specifics of it. So if I say something that's wrong or off base or whatever, there's an excuse to lambast me. I don't know the specifics of it. People are saying free Palestine. At the same time, people are saying free Israel or help Israel or whatever. Or Gaza this, Gaza that, Hamas and all this. And like I said, at the very, very base core of it, I just want this to be resolved. I want this to be no wars ever. So, like I said, Rachel Zegler, last week, or within the past week, She makes this video about Snow White, and at the very end, or in the comment section, she says, by the way, free Palestine. And since that was right there on the cusp of the release, if not on the actual release date or whatever, people went apeshit and said, oh, why is she doing this? She shouldn't be allowed to give her opinions about geopolitics, even though, like, literally every actor in Hollywood has given their opinions on geopolitics at one point or another. In fact, most of Hollywood came to the defense of the director of No Other Land for what happened a few days back or earlier this week, where he was kidnapped in Palestine and beaten and tortured and all that. Like, basically every single Hollywood elite and their mothers came out for that, and support for that. Mark Ruffalo spoke very openly about that. I believe Jordan Peele said some stuff about it as well. But no, because it's Rachel Zegler, and because we already hate her because of Snow White, because she's not white, even though Blancanieves, but whatever, she's gonna get hated on. And it also doesn't help that Gal Gadot is her co-star, and Gal Gadot, for those who don't know her actual, like, ethnic background, she is an Israeli actress. She's born in Israel. She was an Israeli Special Forces soldier. In Israel, you are actually mandated. It is mandatory conscription that all citizens must go through IRS training, or whatever the acronym is, but the Israeli Special Forces training, IRF maybe, or ISF, whatever. But I'll probably very correct myself in the acronyms right there, probably 5 times over. But because of that, she is pro-Israel. And of course, Rachel Zegler is pro-Palestine. And that's caused a lot of issues. Now, why am I mentioning all this? Is because, as I said before, she made a free Palestine post, essentially, in the past week, right, again, on the cusp, and right-wing media has absolutely lost their minds and saying that she is the reason why Snow White, live-action Snow White, failed. Now, I can't really attest to why Snow White failed. I haven't seen Snow White. I was planning on seeing it sometime this week, but some stuff in my personal life are going to prevent that from me watching the movie anytime soon, to be honest with you. And that is the situation we have ourselves. It got so bad to the point that Mark Platt, I believe that's his name, actually had to go to Rachel Zegler and basically beg her to remove that post and try to have her go through social media training, I guess, so for what she is and is not allowed to post, which I find completely disgusting. I believe that at that point, that is basically censorship. And why are you targeting her when, again, literally all of Hollywood has been doing that forever, especially this past week with what happened with the director of No Other Land? It just seems insane to me that you're targeting her and not, like, Mark Ruffalo, or who. I'm saying Mark Ruffalo because I think he's one of the more vocal supporters of human rights in general as well. But it could be anybody else. It could be, I don't know, Jordan Peele or whoever else is big for human rights. I don't know, Keanu, whatever. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Julia Roberts, has she given her thoughts on this? Viola Davis, I don't know. But again, all of Hollywood has mentioned this at one point or another. Rachel Zegler has been mentioning this for about a year and a half, maybe even less, because she's been criticized left, right, and center about everything. And they want to do a whole social media training for her. Now, she refused this social media training. She's like, no, I am going to keep my post. You're not going to control me, this, and that, and whatever. And ever since then, people have, again, been expressing, like, this is why Snow White failed. Apparently, also, like I said, I mentioned Mark Platt. Why I didn't know, and why that last name specifically sounds familiar to Mark Platt, is because that is the father of Ben Platt. Ben Platt is the guy who made Dear Evan Hansen, and that cursed movie adaptation of Dear Evan Hansen. Say whatever you want about live action Snow White, but honestly, that adaptation of Dear Evan Hansen in live action, that was such a cursed thing. Jesus Christ, don't get me started. But I'm bringing that up specifically is because apparently he has another son called Jonah Platt. He responded to a comment on Instagram. Now, I can't find the Instagram comment itself anymore, like, live. I'm not sure if he took it down. There is evidence that he's, like, limited the comments on his Instagram posts. Here's what it said, and I'm putting the picture, of course, right here, right now, but it says, your dad flew to NYC to reprimand the young actress, Rachel Zegler. Any words on this? Because this is creepy. Yes. As hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No. Shame on your father. And then this is Jonah's response to, I guess, Brent, 13. You really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of enormous pieces of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee. I feel like she's a little bit older than 20 years old, but whatever. 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, which she signs a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid to do publicity for. Again, I feel like every single actor and actress at some point or another has said something about politics, especially last year when we literally had an election, by the way. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the box office. No. Was it, I'll be honest, was it a potential factor? I'm pretty sure there is some element that is a factor in that, but I don't think she has the sole responsibility as to why the movie failed, and I'll get to that later on in the video. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on the film as she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all her colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. Says the narcissist himself, coddling and encouraging his father's own narcissism in the situation. Great job at being a hypocrite and victim blaming, my guy. Wow, your family just does not know every single time there's deeper and deeper levels of depravity. I mean, Dear Evan Hansen, we could get past as just a crap movie where your brother, who is clearly 30 years old, with makeup on that makes him look like 50, but he's supposed to be portraying what, like a 16-year-old thirsting after a 15, 14-year-old with Caitlin Dever. Caitlin Dever, although she's like, what, 20, 21, she still passes off for a 15, 16-year-old. Your brother, 30, where you guys try to make him look younger with makeup and the costume, he was like, what, 30 years old, but in reality, he looks like 50 years old. So, yeah, oh wow, my camera fell. Back to it. But yeah, but that being said, so I mean, that's one level of depravity, which we could get over. We've had bad casting calls every here and there. If you want to argue Rachel Zegler was a bad casting call because of this and that, fair enough, I guess. I mean, that was basically the most of the drama with the movie as is beforehand. Okay, so we've had bad casting calls. Okay, cool. And if you just wanted to say that Rachel Zegler was a bad casting call because of this and not really get too personal about it, that's fair. If you wanted to be like, oh, I don't know, Florence Pugh would have been a better option, or I don't know, Caitlin Dever, or Beanie Feldstein, or some of these other young actresses would have been a better option. That's fair. Sure, why not? Or Jenna Ortega, I guess, to keep it Hispanic. Mia Goth. I don't know. That's one. I think that conversation would have been fair enough. But nah, the conversation how it went down. That's not how it went down, and that's why people got into a whole shitstorm about it back in the day. Your brother, again, 30-year-old. Looking like a 50-year-old, thirsting after a, give or take, 20-year-old who's supposed to be 15, 16 in the film. So yeah, that's one level of depravity. And now, your father, level 2, where he's literally going up to New York, leaving his family, to talk to his employee, which, fair enough, if he's a producer, that is his employee, but talk to his employee to censor her thoughts on Palestine. And then level 3, Jonah Platt, basically defending, literally doing what he's saying, coddling, encouraging this depravity of behavior, victim blaming, putting all the failures of the movie on Rachel Zegler, when in reality that is not the reason, or at the very least not the sole reason why Snow White is failing in the box office right now. Point blank and period. Here's the thing. These live action adaptations of Disney movies have not been popular at all. They seldomly are popular at all. Starting since Alice in Wonderland, because technically they did have a few live action adaptations pre-2010, but nobody really counts them to be honest, and it wasn't as prolific as we've had it since 2010. So starting with Alice in Wonderland since 2010, Alice in Wonderland I think was mixed to positive reviews. Sorcerer's Apprentice, I think, has been basically forgotten. Maleficent has been very well loved. Cinderella, I think, was generally speaking well loved. Jungle Book, although I personally didn't care for it, a lot of people did. And then we get to Alice Through the Looking Glass in 2016. Not many people liked it. Beauty and the Beast, mixed, I would say generally mixed reviews. Christopher Robin's, I think, is probably one of the more popular ones. But then you get to Dumbo, 2019. We're getting into the pandemic years. Very important. Dumbo, not many people liked it. I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, but it had its problems. But Dumbo, not really many people liked it. Aladdin, mixed, but still, you're trying to replace Robin Williams. You know what I mean? Lion King, I absolutely hate that movie. I think, generally speaking, that's probably the worst received movie. Next to another one, actually. That's another one, which we'll get to later. But, yeah, The Lion King, just one of the worst adaptations, period. I don't even know why they did it. Mistress of Evil, I think people generally liked it, but it's basically all but forgotten. Lady and the Tramp, that was one of the first Disney Plus movies. I didn't even know this was a thing at first, to be completely honest. I've never even watched it. I've never even heard people talk about it, period. So I don't know if it has a good or bad reputation. If anything, it's got no reputation because nobody talks about it. Mulan, aside from Lion King, probably one of the worst received ones in the bunch. Cruella was alright, from what I understand. I never saw it, but, generally speaking, it was alright. Pinocchio, again, top 3 pinnacle of why do we have live-action remakes? Pinocchio, Lion King, and Mulan. Done. Peter Pan and Wendy. That's a thing. Okay, given the fact that I'm literally just finding out this is a thing, that's probably just as similar as Lady and the Tramp, where this probably got no reviews on it. Period. Little Mermaid, I would say it was generally well liked, but still a lot of people found it to be unnecessary. Don't get me started on the Mufasa prequel. People generally didn't like it. They probably liked it a little bit more than Lion King, but generally speaking, no. And then we're down to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. My point is that the Disney remakes have not been, by and large, have not been popular. You have a few mixed ones there, like Aladdin and Cruella and Maleficent, but some of the more successful ones were very early on with Beauty and the Beast, Christopher Robin, And even then, that's very few and far between. And especially with the drama that Snow White was already finding itself in, with having Rachel Zegler as a lead, even before this. Yes, you could attribute some of the failures to Rachel Zegler, I guess, but even then you cannot attribute the whole thing to Rachel Zegler, Jonah Platt, and while I'm at it, Tatiana Siegel. Because Tatiana Siegel, she did a Variety article called Inside Disney Snow White's Fiasco, Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and Social Media Guru for Rachel Zegler. Here's the thing with Tatiana Siegel. She is basically I'm not sure if anti-woman is the right word to say. Maybe anti-Palestine, anti-political discourse or whatever, because she is the person who basically catapulted the whole controversy with Melissa Barrera when it came to Scream. Melissa Barrera, very similar situation. She gave her thoughts on geopolitics. Within a day or two, Tatiana Siegel writes an article. Within a day or two afterwards, she has completely written off Scream 7, and Scream 7 has been floundering ever since then, and basically development hell. There's always a new update, which kind of makes no sense with how Scream is, but that's besides the point. So it doesn't surprise me now that Tatiana Siegel, her name pops up again, and now it's not in correlation with Snow White and this whole thing. Here's the thing, the fiasco does not lie with Rachel Zegler. The fiasco lies with the fact that these Disney adaptations have, generally speaking, not been well liked, have not been received well in general. That's what it comes down to. Again, maybe some prior comments that she made, whether appropriate or not, does she technically have? Is she a part of the cause as to why it failed? Possibly. I'm not going to sit here and say no, because again, there has been a lot of anti-Zegler hate even in the past, especially, and then in the past week with her comments. Sure, I'm pretty sure there is something contributing to that, but I don't think it's the whole thing. It's just the general dislike for these Disney remakes on top of that. And then when the movie actually came out, here's the funny thing. Rachel Zegler has actually been noted as being one of the few good things about the movie. So, make it make sense. Compared to Gal Gadot, who apparently people think she can't act at all, I don't know. To be honest, I've only ever seen her in Wonder Woman 1 and 2. I thought she was really good in 1. Number 2 just has has tremendo story issues up the ass. So I wouldn't even begin to remember how she acted when most of my issues with that movie were just story-wise with 1984. But yeah, now she did Death of the Nile, and I know she got criticized for her performance in that movie. I know she's been getting criticized for her performance in this movie. But I just find that ironic that the thing that everybody's pinpointing, like, oh, this is the reason it's failed, is the thing that a lot of people are saying that actually this is one of the few things that actually works in this movie, that she actually is one of the bright spots of this movie. So I find it kind of ironic in that sense. And then Beefed Up Security, by the way, from that article, from the Variety article, that's actually in reference to Gal Gadot as well. Apparently the comments are so damaging, the Rachel Zegler comments that she's made about, that just says Free Palestine, and the fact that she refuses to take it down, it is so damaging that they actually need to get security for Gal Gadot, because she's Israeli. Not Rachel Zegler, who is making the comments, the controversial comments. Not Rachel Zegler, who has already had a media shitstorm behind her for the past year and a half. But no, they have to give it to Gal Gadot. Now here's the thing, Gal Gadot has also been controversial in her own right. acting aside, she's also been criticized for her views on the whole Israeli-Palestine conflict, especially because she herself is Israeli, because she herself has been special forces and is military trained by Israel, and she has made some dodgy comments, I guess, supposedly, as well. Again, I don't really know the specifics, so don't come at me for that if you want, but whatever. But there is that, but I do find it just a bit ironic that because of these comments that Rachel Zegler did, because Rachel Zegler has been the one getting all the hate recently, that Gal Gadot is now the one who gets the protection. I just find that extremely, extremely ironic and just dumb. Just very, very dumb. Here are my thoughts on it. And again, I haven't seen the movie. Just from what I've seen, what I've read, Rachel Zegler is not the problem here. The problem is how people have reacted to her in the past year and a half, both for her from her being casted as Snow White in the first place, and to her reactions and to the reactions of her saying Free Palestine. Again, for me, I think very base level, war should end, and that's it. Done. But I also find it very hypocritical that people are criticizing Rachel Zegler for saying Free Palestine when literally every other figure in Hollywood has been doing the same thing for the past I don't know how many years. What about her is so special that you need to target her specifically and not everybody else in Hollywood? I don't get it. It is honestly beyond me, and I'm not able to comprehend it. From what I've seen, she has not really made any inappropriate comments about the situation. It's not like she's out there and saying death to Israel or kill every single Israeli. She's not saying that. Okay, it's not like she's saying support Hamas and support the killing of the Jews or anything like that. She's just saying Free Palestine. I just find it very. I honestly just do not comprehend what all this hatred is where all this hatred, vitriolic hatred against her is coming from. I seriously don't. And if somebody could please explain to me, because I'm super lost. I've always been lost on this. Explain to me why is it wrong to say Free Palestine? Why is it wrong to say Free Israel or whatever? Because you say one thing, you're a racist. You say the other thing, you're a Zionist or anti-Zionist or this or that or whatever, or you're a Nazi. I literally don't understand it. I've researched it and I just still don't get it. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb. Again, I'm a filmmaker. I'm an actor. I'm just basically dumb. Okay. Right now, that's what I graduated college with. I graduated college with a theater degree, and I'm struggling to get an actual job right now. So, yeah, I'll be honest, I am dumb. So, when it comes to stuff like this, geopolitics, I'm even dumber than the usual thing, okay? So, if anybody, please, go, be my guest, explain it to me, and let's see if I finally get it to my thick brain. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll finally hate Rachel Zegler. Not really, because I think this hate against her is kind of dumb, hypocritical, somewhat misogynistic and racist as well. But that's the situation. I just feel like this situation just keeps growing and growing and growing, and there's no end to it, and it makes no sense for this girl who's like slightly younger than me. She should be like 23, 24 at this point, to get all this vitriolic hatred. I think she's a great actress. I'll be honest with you. I think she's great. From what I've seen her, all the work she's done, I think she's great. I thought she was great in Y2K. I thought she was great in Shazam 2. I thought she was great in West Side Story. I'm not missing something. Hunger Games. I thought she was exceptional in Hunger Games, to be honest. Honestly, I think she's a great talent. I think she's a great actress, great singer as well. Because you saw West Side Story. If for anything else, I'm not surprised that she's the highlight of the movie of Snow White. I'm not surprised at all, especially with all the drama behind Snow White and the stuff that the rewrites with them not putting in dwarves and actually them being dwarves, and the whole thing with Peter Dinklage as well, and all this and that, and then having to do reshoots over and over again and whatever have you. Now, Gal Gadot not being a good actress, sure, whatever. I'm not surprised that she is actually a highlight of the film. So whenever I see Snow White, again, I was going to see it sometime this week, but personal stuff got in the way, life stuff are getting in the way, so I can't really do that. But whenever I eventually see it, at the very least, I have her performance to look forward to. I just think that, the hate behind her is stupid, hypocritical, racist, misogynistic, X, Y, and Z. She is not the reason the movie failed at all. The movie failed because of the fact that people just do not want live-action remakes anymore. The movie failed because, from a production value, it just looks weak. Again, from all the stuff I just discussed with all the rewrites and reshoots and the dwarves not being there, then us seeing the trailer with the creepy CGI dwarves and all this stuff. And if you see the costumes, it looks kind of weird too, like a little bit cheap, if I'm being honest. And then, you know, I guess you could make fun of that, like, quad haircut that they gave her in the movie. You know, she actually did a post. She posted something on her Instagram. Whatever look they gave her for, like, whatever promotional material thing she was doing at the time, that look she had for that post, and I'm putting it right here, that looks more like a Snow White than what they actually gave for the movie, if I'm being honest. So I don't know why they went with that weird bob cut instead of this amazing flowy curly hair type of thing that she has on this other picture. The movie is not failing because of her, or at least it's not solely failing because of her. So don't come here and victim blame Jonah Platt and the rest of the men who are trying to pull that crap off. It's not. I'm not gonna deny here and say that probably there isn't a small contingency of it, or there is a small part of it that probably is, because just the way the world works. But she's not the sole reason, and if anything, looking at the reports, she's actually one of the few highlights. I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. I want to defend Rachel Zegler again, because I just feel like this hate against her is just so stupid, vitriolic, racist, misogynist, etc., 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 like I've already expressed like 3 times over. And that's basically it for now. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on all this useless, pointless drama, hypocritical drama? What are your thoughts on all this? Comments all that down below. No, and if you guys feel free to inform me or teach me about the whole Israel-Palestine situation, go ahead. I'll be completely honest. I'm open to looking at it, but I don't see me really changing my mind as to, like, oh, then yeah, let's cancel Rachel Zegler. I think that's just stupid in general. So yeah, that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.